I found my husband's DNA test and realized he wasn't the man I married. He switched identities with his dead twin brother 20 years ago. For 12 years, I loved Robert Sullivan. He was my husband, the father of my 2 children, a successful architect, and the definition of stability. Our life was comfortable, predictable, and I believed utterly transparent. Robert was known for his quiet consistency, his aversion to risk, and his fierce dedication to protecting his family's privacy, a privacy I always attributed to the trauma of his youth. His twin brother, Ethan, died tragically 20 years ago in a climbing accident during their university years. Robert never spoke about Ethan, citing the pain and the finality of the loss. Ethan was the reckless, magnetic twin. Robert was the reserved, reliable survivor. The foundation of my reality was dismantled by a simple, mandatory genetic test. Robert, as a requirement for a massive multi-million-dollar corporate contract, needed to submit a full DNA profile to the client's security team. Robert, usually meticulous with paperwork, was visibly anxious and evasive about this final step. He insisted on handling the submission himself, claiming the client was overly secretive about the lab they used. The test results were supposed to be delivered exclusively to the client, but due to a technological glitch, a simple email server error, the full, unredacted report was accidentally forwarded to our joint household email account. I discovered it late one night while clearing out the spam folder. The attachment labeled Sullivan, Final Genetic Marker Report, was massive and intimidatingly scientific. I opened it out of simple curiosity. The report confirmed Robert's genetic profile, but the summary box at the top sent a cold spike of terror through my chest. The name listed was not Robert Sullivan. The name on the DNA report, matched to the genetic markers and identification number, was Ethan Sullivan. I stared at the screen, paralyzed. My husband's name was Robert. Ethan was the twin who died 20 years ago. My initial thoughts spiraled into fantastical absurdity. Was it a common lab error? Was the client reusing an old file? But the genetic markers were definitively Robert's, or rather the man I knew as Robert. I quickly accessed old family documents, his passport, his birth certificate, all listed Robert James Sullivan. Everything official pointed to Robert, but the genetic truth on the screen pointed exclusively to the deceased brother, Ethan. My curiosity transformed into a frantic, sinking dread. I spent the rest of the night cross-referencing the report with public records. I located old, archived newspaper reports about the climbing accident 20 years ago. The reports detailed the deaths of 2 students. The bodies were recovered days later, severely damaged. The identification, the report stated, was done primarily through dental records and personal effects. The official death certificate clearly named Ethan Sullivan. But the man sleeping upstairs, the man who was legally Robert Sullivan, was genetically Ethan. The realization was a profound, existential shock. The man I married was not Robert, the reserved architect. He was Ethan, the reckless twin who was officially dead. The real Robert, the one whose identity he had assumed, was the one who actually died on that mountain 20 years ago. The chilling question wasn't if he lied, but why he had orchestrated such a complex, profound identity theft. I began an intensive investigation into the past lives of the 2 brothers. Accessing old university records and legal documents, I quickly found the motive for the switch. Rooted in the final semester of their university life, the real Robert Sullivan, the studious twin, had